The Chicago Bears had some OTAs this week, and we got to hear from our new head coach, Ben Johnson, who met with the media for the first time at Hallis Hall in Chicago, in Lake Forest, Illinois, to meet with the media since we got that big, juicy Caleb Williams gossip that we covered last week on our show. And if you haven't checked that out, please go and get that recap before maybe you watch this part of it, even though I know that nobody ever does that. But the point is the big, juicy Caleb Williams story came out last week that he didn't want to necessarily go play for the Bears when they had the number 1 draft pick last year. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But the main one being that, as his father put it, Chicago is the place where quarterbacks go to die. And if you know anything about the history of the Bears, you will know that they have not been able to get the quarterback position right basically for their entire existence. The last time they had a quarterback, I think that was top tier in the league, was like 1950 with Sid Luckman.
That's a long time ago.
It is a long time ago, and the game has evolved and changed in so many ways since then. And unfortunately, the Bears have been unable to do it with the game. They haven't been able to evolve. Now, all of a sudden, we have a new head coach who was like the highest sought after coach in the league, and probably the most, I don't think aggressive is the right word, but probably the most confident coach and confidently spoken coach the Bears have had since Mike Ditka.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to offense and being offensive minded.
He's definitely outspoken, and he likes, I don't want to say attention, but he likes to be, he's not shy from the cameras. He doesn't shy away from the cameras.
No. But anyways, I thought Ben Johnson did a really smart thing here. We talked about how he responded to the Caleb Williams news last week, the day it happened, like 2 hours after the news broke. Ben Johnson was on Colin Cowherd's The Herd, and he was being asked about this, and he was already talking about like why this isn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, it's permeated all over the news world this week, the Chicago media world, and it's been a huge topic. I knew it would be. I know the Chicago sports media very well, having listened to them for nearly all of my life, and I knew that this was going to be a big story, a big, juicy story. And, well, Ben Johnson met with the media, and before they even asked him any questions, he went and did this, everybody.
To my attention that the quarterback's been out in the media over the last week, and just to get out in front of that a little bit, I just wanted to say I wasn't here last year, and so I can't speak too much in terms of what it was like before he got here and when he got here last year. But from my 4 months on the job, he's been outstanding to work with, and we just are focusing on getting a little better every day.
All right, let's pause it. All right, so this opening statement here was an attempt, even self-admittedly, he says it, I want to get ahead of this and get out in front of it. And he says a lot of what he said on Colin Cowherd last week. You know, I wasn't here last year. I didn't onboard Caleb into the NFL.
Don't look at me, basically.
Our relationship so far is great, and we're just working hard, and that's that. It was very limited, but...
Well, he's looking to the future with Caleb.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
past is the past. Move on.
I know. This is like so far removed. Some of these things that they're talking about here are like 18 months ago, you know?
It creates buzz.
It's all of this stuff happened over a year ago. It was before the previous draft.
Yeah, no. It creates buzz. And people are always looking for stories like that because it creates drama.
No doubt. Well, I'm glad Ben Johnson was more than ready for what was about to come his way. This was the first question he got, Nika. If you will resume play.
The process of building the trust with Caleb and getting his full buy-in under your watch.
Yeah, it starts with developing a rapport and a trust, and that's earned over time. You don't walk in day one and expect that to be achieved. And so the more time we spend together, he understands that I have his best interests at heart, and vice versa. He's going to go out there and play as well as he possibly can, not just for himself or me, but for the whole team and the city. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So we're very much aligned in terms of what we want to get done, and it just takes more time on task in terms of getting on the same page with how we're going to do it.
Are there ways that you watch film?
All right, so you hear here, like, how are you going to get Caleb to trust you? And I feel like this is such a dumb, wasted question because, and I don't mean to pick on Dan Weirderer here. I like Dan Weirderer. I listen to his podcast almost all the time when it's dropped. And I think he's a great source of information about everything and anything Chicago Bears related. Mm-hmm. However, this is a wasted question here. Like, the Bears hired Ben Johnson for Caleb Williams. They hired him for Caleb Williams. Yeah. I don't understand, like, why you think, like, there's this big trust building exercise now that's happening. Like, that was the exercise. If they hadn't hired Ben Johnson,
then you can ask that question.
Then I think there would have been a bigger issue here. But I think the fact that the Bears went out and got the best offensive-minded coach available, maybe not just last year, but in many years. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how highly sought after and praised this guy was. So I just don't understand the kind of a wasted opportunity here of a question. And it's like, you're asking question. Something obvious here.
Yeah. It's a soft question.
Anyways, let's continue on with the press conference here because it's going to keep being about Caleb.
Are there ways that you watch film with your quarterbacks that might be, does it vary from coach to coach? When you've got these four guys here, are there things that you're teaching them that they need to, see the way that you see it? Is that a part of, like, this part of the time of the year? Is that part of the process of teaching them, or?
Yeah, everyone's different. I've been around a number of coordinators, a number of quarterback coaches, and so I would say my style is kind of a combination of everything that I've been around and I've come to learn and love and appreciate. Exactly. And so there's a process that I believe in, that we believe in as an offensive staff, that we're adhering to this springtime, and we're going to stay true to that. How we're going to develop that position in particular, and those guys are doing a great job working hard right now at it.
Think when you hear it?
This is a funny concept to me as well, because I just feel like, yeah, of course they're going to do these things, like so just to get everyone caught up to speed, one of the big things that came out in the Caleb Williams story was that after he was drafted and as the season went to hell last year in a handbasket, Caleb Williams apparently told his dad or someone from ESPN, Seth Wickersham, that no one was watching game film with him. Like, they kind of left him up to his own devices, it sounds like, and we're like, here, we'll give you access and provide you with all the film to watch, but no one actually, like, sat down with him and showed him how to watch it, maybe, or how you should analyze your play. And so that's where the origin of this question comes from here. And I don't want to misspeak, but I do believe this was Courtney Cronin from ESPN Chicago. So, asking about this.
Mm-hmm. But wouldn't he know already how to analyze his games from college?
He should know some of that. Yes. Okay. I mean, but again, it's college.
I know it's different ball games. Sure.
So I don't know how a player like Caleb Williams, who, he wasn't like undefeated or anything in college, but he had a lot of success and he had a lot of abilities to probably overcome obstacles. And he might not have those same devices at the NFL level, So I personally like Ben Johnson's answer here because I feel like he was not necessarily speaking up for Caleb's last year, whatever. Like he said, he wasn't here last year. He wasn't a part of it. But what Ben Johnson is saying is that he is going to institute a organizational philosophy, and he's going to go and show people on the team and in the organization, how he goes about his business, what he's learned from everybody he's been around in his life. I love people that say that, by the way. Like, you're going to borrow a little bit from everyone you've been around in your whole life. Whether you like these people or not, whether you're friends with them or not, you still might have learned things from them.
Absolutely.
To carry with you and bring with you into your own now opportunity.
Yes.
This is Ben Johnson's opportunity to finally have the keys to the kingdom. He's the head coach of a football team. It's the Bears. This is a dream situation for the Bears. So I like that he's saying all these things, and I think he handled this question appropriately. Like, you know, I don't care what happened here before. It's a brand new day in Chicago, and all we're going to do is just institute my philosophies one day at a time. All right, let's continue in. This is Mark Grody with the final question here of Ben Johnson's press conference that I clipped for now.
Okay.
As in from the article, from the upcoming book, that Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die. Like, from a distance, did you see that? And what do you think when you hear that?
I love it. I love the opportunity to come on in and change that narrative. That's where great stories are written. And so we're looking to write a new chapter here, 2025 Chicago Bears, and looking forward to the future.
That was it.
All right, you can pause it. Yeah. So the reason why I clipped this last question from Mark Grody, by the way, who works for 670 The Score, is because we just made a video at the end of our last at the end of our last Caleb conversation, we clipped a video about how I believe in my heart Michael Jordan and Caleb Williams can be one and the same. That Caleb Williams can follow in the footsteps of Michael Jordan. I reminded people that the 1984 Bulls were a mess, a abysmal mess of a franchise, maybe even in a worse place than the Bears were under Eberflus. I mean, at least he was running decent practices from what I've heard.
Okay.
Like, this Bulls team, you know, they had no leadership when it came to the coach or the general manager or anything. Like, everything that they became happened after that first season. And anyways, I just wanted to put that out there because I feel like there is a similar opportunity here for the Bears. You know, like, yes, the last 15 years have been awful. However, it doesn't have to stay that way. We've seen it happen before. And we saw Michael Jordan become a six-time champion in this town after he played for 7 years and they barely got any playoff wins. You know, it just clicked one time and it happened. We have no patience anymore to let things happen and
We do
ferment.
not.
Is that the right word? To let them cook in the damn crock pot, you know? There's no patience anymore.
Yeah, there isn't. From microwave dinners to instant gratification social media.
We really need to let Ben Johnson do the work here, you know? And I want to end by saying this. There's been a sentiment that I've seen running throughout the Chicago media this week, and I don't mean to pick on him again, but Dan Wiederer is one of them. And, you know, they adamantly believe that Caleb Williams not speaking in front of the podium yet about this story is a mistake. And go ahead.
I was just going to say the Chicago media feels very entitled. Like, they need to have whatever is happening at the moment in their sphere answered instantaneously by the other players. If it was basketball, it will be the same. They need to have those questions answered ASAP.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's not the case. Let the kid be the kid and let him work on his craft. He will address the media when it gets closer to the season starting, because this story will resurface.
well, we went over this the last time we
did.
talked about Caleb Williams in this story, but just to give everyone a refresher course, ESPN was motivated to release this story when they did. It was the day after the schedule came out. A schedule, by the way, where the Vikings are playing the Bears in week 1 on, you guessed it, ESPN. Ding, ding, ding. So there were motivations to already start building hype for the week 1 Monday Night Football game that's going to be on ESPN
in 4 months.
And they couldn't wait to get the train started. So I want to remind people about that this wasn't like, this was maliciously motivated in a way, because this isn't a flattering story. It's not going to paint the Bears in a good light, no matter how it comes out. It never was, and it's not telling anybody things that people didn't know. If you listen to people that heard this story that are involved with professional football, they're like, oh, tell me something I didn't know last year around the draft. And, oh, by the way, would you want to go to the Bears? And it was like, yeah, not really.
Exactly.
That's a generally accepted answer. But like the Chicago media, on the other hand, is like, why is this happening? Why would you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what? We know the answers why. We know. We just talked about Sid Luckman, 1950. So, again, I feel like
No patience.
And so I have to ask also, what is Caleb Williams going to gain by going out in front of the media right now and answering questions? You see how vapid they are with Ben Johnson. You think they're going to be worse with Caleb.
Right.
They're going to be even worse. And then they say he needs to get out in front of this and talk about it so that the story can go away, but it's not going to go away because the book is coming out in September, like right when the game is about to be played against the Vikings.
They're going to draw this all out back in the September. I mean, coming up in September.
And the reason for the Vikings being of importance is because, according to the book, the Vikings head coach and Caleb Williams had this bromance brewing at the NFL Combine before he was drafted by the Bears, and like he told his dad he wanted to go to the Vikings or something. You know what? He also went back and told his dad after he met the Bears that, you know what, I'm going to go play for the Bears instead. I'm going to do it. So are we not allowed to change our minds as human beings?
Of course we are.
And
he is a Bear. He already committed.
He committed. And
end of the story.
So we should just be rooting for him now and supporting him as much as possible and stop dwelling on the past.
You have to, you have to embrace the past so you don't make the same mistakes in the future.
But did he make a mistake?
No,
I just don't think he did anything wrong.
No.
And they're all making him sound like he did something wrong.
Right, exactly. That's not the case. I'm talking more in general approach to history and stuff.
They want him to answer for something, and he didn't do anything wrong. That's my point. And so I'm going to stick to that.
Yeah.
And I don't think he should have to get in front of a microphone. We're going to be talking to him in July. It's going to be time for training camp before you know it.
He's going to be in front of the cameras again when the training starts, and they're going to keep pounding those questions. They will not let go.
They will not. I know it. And then he's going to have to do it all over again in September anyway when the damn book comes out. So good luck getting through the next few months, kid. You're going to need it.
I'm glad Ben Johnson is on top of it because he is his mouthpiece.
He is doing a wonderful job so far, just in this realm, just of media management. That's a big part of the head coaching job that gets overlooked because people want to make it always about X's and O's and, a leader of men. Part of it is big time is dealing with the media and protecting your players through the media. And we should be celebrating Ben Johnson for that more and not being like, where's Caleb? Where's Caleb? Where's Caleb? I want access to Caleb. I want him to answer for his comments that he made over 18 months ago. It's like, get over yourself.
Yes, exactly. Don't make it all about the media. It's not about you.